Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am sniffling, but I'm here. Yeah, I'm still sick. Different thing this time. So I think maybe strep. I'm not really sure. My rapid strep test came back negative, but the doctor kind of still thinks it's probably strep based on everything else that's going on. I was gonna postpone this and record later, but it's been 2 weeks since my last video. I have so much to talk about as it is. And tomorrow's February, which, okay, whatever. I'll just go along with the calendar, whatever it says. I don't believe it. I can't believe that it's possibly February already, but nonetheless, here we are. So I just decided to go ahead and record today. I am armed and ready with many beverages, and we're going to get through this. If we don't, then I'm killing my voice for nothing, but I have a feeling that we're going to get through this. I have so much to talk about that I have notes here. I mean, okay, I'm flipping through the whole thing like the notes take up the whole thing, but it's really this whole page, that page, and a pile of stuff over here. So let's just get started. I did the notes to try to keep myself on track here. We have a lot of things to talk about. I will address the title, but later, obviously. And yeah, so let's get going. So the first thing I wanted to do was thank everybody. Thank you so much for your concern with my trip to the ER. I complained a lot about my trip to the ER and how long it took, but I completely understand. Like, there are other things that are far more important than me, like other bigger issues to deal with, especially that day. So I totally get it. But nonetheless, I appreciate everybody's concern. Thanks for commiserating with me regarding my Stitching Bits and Bobs order. The wait was well worth it, and my things have arrived, so we will talk about that in the haul portion. But nonetheless, thanks for commiserating with me. And then I also wanted to thank everybody for all of your comments, for your likes, and for subscribing. I know my channel is kind of like tossed in the air and we'll see what happens. I'm not really very consistent anymore, and you know, that's just how it is. But I appreciate your subscribing, and taking the time out of your busy days to watch, and then to take time to comment. I know that it's really hard to comment on FlossTube anymore. I remember back in the beginning, before FlossTube had its name of FlossTube, there were very few of us, and so I think that there was more time to comment because you know, like, we'd watch a video and we'd take some time to process and then comment, whereas now it's like the watch later lists are in that 99 plus range. You know how after 99 it doesn't count it up anymore, and we're all kind of living there, and so we run out of time for comments, and so I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate your commenting. I wanted to make it my goal this year to try to get better at commenting on the videos that I've watched. And I'm still working on that. I don't want to say that I'm up to date, but I'm watching videos from January, so kind of up to date. But the reason that I'm capable of that is because I'm not commenting, and I'm spending a lot more time watching. I do like a lot of videos, and so anyway, thanks for commenting. Much appreciated. Our community is so huge, and it makes me so excited that we have these problems, like, can't keep up with my watch later. You know, I love that we have that issue. That's very cool. And then one last thing that I wanted to address was that I wanted to thank specifically Orietta, Chandra, and Letitia for helping me with the pronunciation of Bargello. So that's that satin stitch that I was referring to on my not quite white work, Orietta went to like the ends of the earth, and she sent me a message on Facebook with a voice recording of how to pronounce both Bargello and no, I'm not going to try that because I don't want to ruin the language. It's such a beautiful language. But Bargello, and then Campanilla. I'm still not going to say that right because my training in a secondary language is Spanish, and so I can't help but put that flair into it. Anyway, Orietta, thank you so much for that, and thank you to Orietta's husband for his input as well. Much appreciated. So now I will pronounce that correctly, or close to anyway. Okay, so let's get to the questions. Quite a few questions on my last video, so thank you so much for everybody posting your questions. As always, and as many of us say these days, if you have any questions about anything, I mean, you know, nothing like too personal, but like stitching, knitting, reading, my life, my wedding. If you have questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to ask, or I'll be happy to answer them in the following video. So let's get to it. Carolina S., who I'm going to reference a little bit later today, but she asked, is Under the Moonlight still available? So that is my Passion Ricomo mystery stitch along from 2014 to 2015. And yes, Carolina, it is still available. It is available on the Passion Ricomo website. I will link it directly in the down bar, but for anybody who wants to navigate directly to it rather than click through the links, you go to passionricomo.eu, and then on you click, there's either the Italian or the English versions of the website. If you go to the English one, on the left-hand side, there is a bar, and that menu, you click on the one, I believe it says Sal's or Mystery, something like that. Click on that one. Under the Moonlight is MO4. And so you can still purchase it. And from what I understand, when you order it, you get the whole file. But I don't believe that I think that it's like she took each of the mystery parts and then stuffed them together into one big book of a file. So rather than it be like one big chart, it's the 16 parts. The reason that I know that is because I actually recently had to purchase one of the previous mysteries from before, because if you're going to delete your inbox, save the important stuff first. We'll go with that. I cleaned out my inbox. I am type B personality, and so if I see 2,000 emails, it doesn't bother me, but it got up to almost 10,000, and that was kind of a little bit ridiculous. So I just went through and I just blindly deleted it all, because by and large it's all junk and spam and, you know, whatever. So I just blindly deleted it all, but in the process I actually deleted one of my other mysteries, so that was kind of a bummer. But anyway, yes, Under the Moonlight is still available. I can't do this short. Everything is a tangent. We'll just go with it. Okay. Stitching May asked, will you choose the darker color for all of the flowers? She's referring to the Ellen Moore Stroh Flower of the Month series, and that's exactly what I plan to do. I'm going to pick the darkest shade in the flower portion of each of the flowers to stitch to backstitch the lettering of the name of the flower. And I've had a look, and I think that I can fit all of them in that bottom border there. So I think that's going to work out great. And so I'll kind of keep the color story the same, which will be fun. Okay, Christine, and I'm not gonna say your last name on video here, but Christine posted a few questions. She is primarily an Ada stitcher, and but she really likes the hand-dyed fabrics, and so she was kind of, she was asking about like better color, better style to be able to see the holes. She says the 28 and 32 count, they're too difficult to see. Totally get that. I had my own issues with a 32 count this week, but I'll explain that in a little bit. So she's kind of asking about a better color. First and foremost, as far as color is concerned, you can't go wrong with a lighter color. And I'm talking neutrals. I would stay away from, if you're concerned about your vision, I would stay away from the opalescents, specifically those that have the sparkle woven into the fabric, because that can kind of confuse the threads of the fabric. That can get a little bit confusing, at least on the linens. Stay away from the dark fabrics. We're talking the deep blues, the deep purples, black. Even deep dark brown can sometimes be a little bit difficult, and dark green. I found that with my Haunted for Raven Queen. Sometimes I do have to sort of line up some white behind me in order to be able to see. Now, one thing that I did do, and while I was stitching on something on very dark fabric this week, one thing that I did do is that I stitch sitting up, and I have my iPad here. And so I will open up, let me pull it open here. I have a Goodreader app. And I'm just going to open to something totally unrelated. This is a knitting pattern, but this will demonstrate. So Goodreader is cool because you can set it up so that it will never turn off, so that the light will never dim on your iPad, which is pretty cool. And then, so what I will do is, if I'm stitching, my stitching is usually about here, usually tilted more vertically than horizontally. I will lay my iPad in my lap, and you can see kind of the light that's being reflected up to my face already. If I have my stitching over top of that, I can see the holes so much better. It's a little bit harder because my right hand can kind of get in the way and cover that light. You can see how my face darkens when my hand is there versus when it's not. But most of my stitching takes place on top. Go figure. And so I can see the holes really well from the top. And so that's one thing that I would recommend. I know that some people suggest putting something white, like a towel or a piece of white paper or a piece of white felt in your lap underneath your stitching, and that will help you see the holes. And the reason they say that is because white reflects light, and so that explains why that works. I use my iPad because not only does it reflect the light off the whiteness, but it also pushes light towards me, so I can see really, really clearly through. So that's one thing that I do. If you're looking at some hand-dyed fabrics and you're not comfortable with the 28 count or the 32s, I know that you mentioned, Christine, that you were looking at trying a 22. Definitely do that. See if 22 works for you. If it does, try a 25. If you're looking at going to the higher counts. My best suggestion, though, for you would be to stay away from linens, because the unevenness of the weave can kind of trick your eyes. And if you're already concerned about your eyesight, I wouldn't necessarily overcomplicate things. So stick to the Adas and the even weaves. I know that a lot of the hand dyers do dye Adas and even weaves. So check them out. Under the Sea Fabrics, fantastic company, and her, I can't recommend Leslie enough. She's just wonderful. So yeah, give it a try. I know that some of the dyers, and I'm not sure if Leslie's one of them, but I know that some of them will do grab bags so you can try their fabric first. So check that out. It might be something worth seeing. I have got to steal a sip of tea, guys. I'm sorry. And yeah, I'm drinking tea, and it's in a different mug this time. This is my Virginia mug. This is the, what's the collection? You Are Here collection from Starbucks, which I love. And it's accurate. I'm in Virginia. Let me see. What have we got? Pentagon, White House, Blue Crab, the mountains, National Harbor, you know. Anyway, okay. Next question Christine asked was, how do the year-long stitch-alongs work? She's referring to how do you get the updated charts. They operate a little bit differently. Specifically, the two that I'm referring to are the two that I'm doing this year. Actually, let me talk about 3, because I know Passion Ricamo does their mysteries as well. They haven't set one up yet for this year, and I'm wondering if that's going to happen. Okay, so Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, there's kind of 2 options. Because of the way that they avoid copyright issues. You can either get it in your email, or if that doesn't work, there's a download link that they send that you can log in and access. And I haven't tried that one, so I'm not sure how that works. But basically, you have a limited number of downloads to have access to the pattern there. Frosted Pumpkin sends an email on the day that it's released, just letting you know that whichever method you have set up for getting your updates, to go ahead and do so. Clouds Factory sends an email, but you log into your account with Clouds Factory, and then you'll see the new chart, and it's usually just the new block that will be on your account for download. Clouds Factory is cool because on the side of your pattern, it has your name. So it means that the pattern is only for your use. So if you are using a pattern that doesn't have your name, that you put into your Clouds Factory account, then you got it from an incorrect location. And you should probably not use that pattern. You should probably just go buy the thing. Because $20 is, it ain't much, and it's, it's somebody's livelihood. We've lost so many designers because they refuse to work in a world where there's copyright issues. We're talking Teresa Wensler. There are a few designers, and Teresa Wensler's the biggest one that pops into my head, of designers that are like, never mind, I'm done, because they're tired of the copyright issues. So $20 is a much lesser price to pay than losing our designers. So if you don't see your name, go buy the thing. Okay, I'm sorry, that was not meant to turn into a lecture. And then Passion Ricamo, when you're signed up for one of their mysteries, Laura, who is the designer behind Passion Ricamo, she emails the update directly to you, so the PDF comes in your email. Northern Expressions Needlework does that as well. I know for my Not Quite White work, I get those directly in my email. Which reminds me, I have to, oh no, I already done that. Nicole is phenomenal. You know how I was talking earlier about how I deleted my inbox? I also deleted parts like 1 through 8. So I emailed Nicole and I'm like, Nicole, what do I do? And she was like, not a problem, here you go. That was really sweet. So thanks, Nicole, if you're watching. Probably not, but okay. Secondary to the stitch-alongs, Christine asked, how do you know what size fabric to get? Couple of ways. When you purchase the year-long stitch-along, you get an introductory chart. Basically, it gives you the details of when the parts are going to be released, what colors you need, which kind of answers your secondary question there. What colors you need, if you need more than one skein. That's the word. If you need more than one skein of a color. It also tells you, and Frosted Pumpkin and Clouds Factory are really good about doing this. They do estimated design size based on the size fabric you're using. So, and they also do stitch count. So if you want to do the math on your own, you're more than welcome to do so. So I know, for instance, actually, that's not true. I have a number in my head, but it's related to a different chart. So that won't do us any good. Sorry, I'm checking my email here. I'm waiting on some wedding things. Anyway, the introductory chart gives you the stitch count and some estimated design sizes and about what size fabric you need to get if you're going with the recommended fabric. So Clouds Factory recommended a 32 count, I believe. Don't quote me on that. They recommended a 32 count rosewood from Picture This Plus, and they recommended that you order a fat quarter. So a 17 by 26 piece thereabouts. Frosted Pumpkin. I could pull it up, but I'm not going to. There's like a best estimate in that introductory, so that tells you how much you need to get. You can also take the stitch count and plug it into a calculator or do the math yourself to figure out if you're going to use like a different size fabric. So I know that you mentioned 22 count. You can take the stitch count, plug it into a calculator, and it'll tell you exactly how much you need. So that's that. She asked about which of the two regarding Frosted Pumpkin and Clouds Factory. You see what's going on here, guys? By the way, sorry, Carolina, I'm sorry you caught my issue. Anyway, regarding Frosted Pumpkin or Clouds Factory, which one do I recommend? Honestly, I love the Clouds Factory one so much more. I don't know how I feel about the current style of the Frosted Pumpkin. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I love the font in the center. I like that this is a little bit different than their previous years in that each of the blocks is not surrounded by a frame, an individual frame. But I'm just kind of curious to see what the rest of it's going to look like. I was slightly disappointed with the block for London for Frosted Pumpkin because it felt like the focus was on the girl, and London was like the backdrop, which I don't know. I don't know. I know that a lot of people are doing this Doctor Who themed one, and I don't know what all of that means. I'm sorry, I don't watch Doctor Who, but I think that's kind of cool. They're kind of making it their own, and it seems to make sense, so that's pretty cool. I thought about adding some lettering to each of the blocks, like detailing where, but I'm going to have to see how the rest of the blocks play out to see if that's reasonable. So, but I would recommend the Clouds Factory one. I just think it's gorgeous. I like the style. I love the little stamps. Garrett, I love what you did by changing the stamp to look like the Italian flag. That's so cool. I love the personalization that's going on here. I love the gondolier, and I love the story that comes with Clouds Factory patterns. When she originally released the block for Venice, it didn't come with this, but then she re-released it with details about the city of Venice and each of the components of the block, and I love that. I like the extra little story. I mean, you guys know I'm a storyteller. I tell stories about stuff all the time. I have another one coming up here later. So I really appreciate that with the Clouds Factory one. So the Clouds Factory one's kind of more hard, like it's, for whatever reason, it takes longer than it should. But that's because there's additional details. So that's the one I recommend. Christine also asked about so when I was talking about my Frosted Pumpkin, I said that the blue on the lettering that I used, Michael's Navy, the variegation was very subtle, and she asked if it was even worth it to spend the extra money. That is a very personal question, I'm afraid to say. I know that's kind of a non-answer, but it really comes down to what you're willing to do. I like even the subtle variegation. I kind of like it. I am not one who goes for the wild variegated colors. Aqua in the Clouds Factory one kind of pushes the envelope a little bit for me. I like the quieter variegations. Here's why. I love showing my projects to you guys, but bigger than that, they're for me. And I will see them up close, you know? And I will see that subtle variegation, and I will see, I will always know that it's there. And I just like the effect of it. I don't like to operate only in primary colors. So there's that. Okay. Thank you, Christine, so much for all of your questions. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I hope that my answers helped, and I hope that you decide to do one of these stitch-alongs. It sounds like that might be where you're kind of headed with these questions. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too far into it, but give them a try. What the heck? Just give it a try. Okay. Next question came from I Heart Cross Stitch, who is, she's a new FlossTuber, and I absolutely love her channel. She asked, where do you find the Ellen Moore stroke flowers, the freebies? And I know Emily R. Responded and linked her to them directly, but I'm going to also stick them in the down par here today, just so that people can find them if they want to. So there's that. So, like I said, thanks everybody for your questions. Much appreciated. And if you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll be happy to answer them next time. Page 2. Half an hour in. Not even halfway there. We got a long way to go here today, guys. I'm going to take another sip of my tea. That's probably cold, but I don't care. Yep, it's cold, but it's delicious nonetheless. Chai tea. Gotta love it. Okay. So, you guys are going to laugh with me. I can't wait. I have 3 new starts, 1 finish, my whips. So we're going to start with the new starts because that's a very fine place to start. Plus, it kind of makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to do this kind of out of order, but it will make sense. Okay, so the first one I have here is not going to look like anything at all. See? It's just a blob of a dark blue and a light blue. What's the dark blue? Oh man, that would have been funny if I had picked 796. Anyway, I did not. Okay, so what is this, you may ask? This is cross stitch on a piece of fabric. What it will be is an image of an 8-bit Mega Man. Very particular. The reason that I say that so particularly is because one of my coworkers requested that I stitch her an 8-bit Mega Man for her brother. And so I found an image of an 8-bit Mega Man and I charted it myself. And so that's where we are. This I haven't touched in 2 weeks. So my last video, in the 2 weeks ago, while I was waiting for the file to finalize on my iMovie and then for it to upload to YouTube, I started this. So this was like a fresh, brand new start in that moment. She needs it by mid-February, and so it's a really, really fast stitch. I mean, we're talking like this could take me an afternoon, but I haven't touched it since then. because I got distracted. Anyway, neither here nor there. I will finish this up and I'm going to frame it for her. The fabric is a 28 count cashel opal in Calypso, and this is from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And I stinking love this fabric. My needle minder there is a Playboy bunny. I mean, it kind of looks like the Playboy bunny. It's just a sparkly bright pink, which is there for irony's sake. My coworker friend that I'm stitching this for, she's like, she doesn't like, well, I shouldn't say that she doesn't like pink, but she likes the color black, and she listens to heavy metal, and so it's just like a study in irony. It's like a happy pink little bunny, and she's so not, which is why I love her dearly. So that's that new start, and this I would expect will be an FFO, probably just in a picture, probably not in my hands the next time I record, because I'm going to work on this again while I'm waiting for this video to upload. So there's that. But then, okay. Was that last weekend? How long has it been since my last video? Oh yeah, that was last weekend. Okay, sorry, I had to think about dates and things. So last weekend, we got hit with a crazy snowstorm. And I don't know if you heard, but we got hit with a lot of snow. Like, more snow than Angel of Love has beads. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I was trapped in my house stitching all weekend. I know, do you guys feel bad for me? It was so amazing. It was so good. It was so good. So did I do that on Sunday? Now I don't even know. I don't think so. No. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I recorded that video, posted it, worked on Mega Man until my video uploaded. Then I went to go work on something else. Then I got the brilliant idea to start a new Heaven and Earth design. Not a mini, not a quick stitch, not a story keep, but a regular old Heaven and Earth design. Why? The challenge, of course, the Heaven and Earth Design Challenge. So for those who are unfamiliar, the Heaven and Earth Design Challenge, the new official Heaven and Earth Designs group on Facebook, run by Michelle Sayeda, who is the charter for Heaven and Earth Designs. This year she's doing a 6-challenge thing. Basically, it's 6 different techniques for stitching Heaven and Earth designs. This first one, you can still sign up. Sign-ups close, I believe, on the 14th of March, and you have to be done by the 15th of March or something to that effect. Somewhere mid-March, so plenty of time here. But the challenge is to stitch 10 by 10 blocks, so 100 block, perfect square. Have to stitch 10 of those, but they cannot touch except by the corners. So effectively the idea is to go diagonally or checkerboard, something like that. So it was all kind of serendipitous. I wasn't going to do the challenge because I wasn't going to start a new Heaven and Earth design, and I didn't feel like changing my methods mid-page on the Heaven and Earth designs that I've already started. I just wasn't about it. But then, this particular Sunday, Heaven and Earth Designs released the newest Jeremiah Kettner, which is, I believe it's Underwater Collection, something to that effect. She's a mermaid. She's gorgeous. Tracy, tagged me in the picture of this on the Heaven and Earth Designs Facebook group, and so I, clicked, oh yeah, I was tagged. Okay, let me see what she tagged me in. And then I look at it, and then I close Facebook, and I log into Heaven and Earth Designs, and I ordered it because I am a glutton for Jeremiah Kettner artwork. I'm obsessed. I can't even. There's one of his that I didn't like, the Audrey Hepburn one. I'm not a huge fan of. But anyway, neither here nor there. So I'm like, all right, I've got this new chart. Let me start it. Well, I didn't have fabric big enough because it's huge. And so I'm like, well, that's a bummer. So let me start a different Jeremiah Kettner. Because why not? So I started Personal Sunshine by Jeremiah Kettner. Isn't she just gorgeous? Purples, and she's laying in a field of poppies, and the clouds, which are black clouds, are holding up the sun. I can't even. It's just so beautiful. So I got started on the Heaven and Earth Designs Challenge. And I completed the Heaven and Earth Designs Challenge in less than 12 hours. How did I do that, you may ask? Because this particular chart has so much black that the first page is 75% black. And so I just did 1,000 stitches of black. And it was so fast. It was amazing. Seriously, like, this may be how I do this for these large chunks of color when you run into those in Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm not saying that this would necessarily work for Josephine Wall, but it totally worked for this. Oh my god, it was so good. So, I got 1,000 stitches of black done in 12 hours. And I would rather do Josephine Wall style confetti than large chunks of one color. I just don't like it. It's just not my thing. So, anyway. So I completed that. And I did the challenge, and I got it done. And so I started a new Heaven and Earth Designs. 25 count antique white Lugana, which is my fabric of choice for Heaven and Earth Designs. This one was cut so bananas. But I don't even care because it's enough. And so I completed the challenge, and then I got started on page 1 in my normal Heaven and Earth Design fashion. And you can see I've already started kind of incorporating some purples there. The black that I'm using, you may be looking at that going, Jess, that looks so good. What kind of black is that? That's Anchor Black. Why? Because Anchor Black is perfect. I mean, it's not, if my camera was better quality, you'd be able to see it's not perfect. There is some white space, but by and large, it's perfect. It's certainly better than DMC Black. So that's that. And now I have another Heaven and Earth Design, and it's full-size Heaven and Earth Design. It's another Jeremiah Kettner, and whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Whatever I said in that first video for 2016 about, like, no new starts unless I get some things done, just forget it. I'm not going all the way crazy. Like, I'm not doing, the year of starts. I mean, I kind of am. I have 6 new starts for this year so far. It's a little crazy. Anyway. My last new start is a finish. And so that's, now you guys understanding why I did this in this order. This is why. Here is my finish. Oh my good grief. This is terrible. I'm going to have to, when I frame this thing, there's going to have to be some, like, it's going to have to be like black mounting board or something. You're never going to be able to see it, but I don't even care. Well, you can kind of see it. So this is Always. And this was charted by Lala Creations on Etsy. I'll link it down below. I was inspired to start this by Leslie from Under the Sea Fabrics. She stitched it on one of her fabrics. I believe it was Witching Hour, and it was beautiful. And I saw this thing on her Facebook group, and I went, I have to stitch that. Originally, I was going to stitch it for myself. However, one of my coworkers, different than the other one, took the loss of Alan Rickman so much harder than a lot of people. She had a really hard time even talking about it. And she's a Slytherin, proud as such. And so I thought that I would stitch this for her. That I would give it to her to frame and have, because always. Arguably the most adorable quote in the whole series. Probably not, but close. Anyway, so this is a 32 count Opal Midnight Tryst, hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie. The thread is Mose cotton in Patronus, which is appropriate. So there's Patronus, just blues and whites. And this stitched up so fast. It used hardly any thread whatsoever. I think I used 3 of my normal lengths, which are for variegated, I used 2 foot lengths, 2-stranded. And it was super, super fast. The other thing that I experienced with this is that I stitched upward. Where? You'll never know. I mean, until I tell you here. So I did the lettering first, came across, did the lettering, completed the lettering, and went, I'm never going to be able to count to the doe's head. Like, I'm just never going to be able to. So I didn't. I stitched across this line, and then I stitched up, and it worked out just fine. Unbelievable. I couldn't even believe it. I was floored. Sarah, you can do it too. You just got to take your time. And, oh, my stitches do look funky going up. But it's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to stress over it, because this was such a simple, quick thing. My needle minder there is arguably one of my favorites. This is a castle. And it was pitched as Hogwarts Castle because all castles are Hogwarts now, from now until forever. Don't do this at home, kids. It opens like a locket. Like a locket. How amazing. And then I'm just going to close it back up. And then it stays closed. It's perfect. I love it. Actually, I'm going to take that needle out because I'm going to lose it, and I need that needle. I'm out of needles, you guys. I am out of needles. It's a terrible place to be out of needles. I'm also very particular about needles. Like, if they start to go, like if they start to look a little tarnished, I stop using them. Anyway, so there's that. And this will be FFO'd in the coming days. Maybe today. Probably not. But nonetheless, that's done. Okay, so we go from finish to mini finish. Mini finish here is my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is the January block for London. And I got that one all finished. You see what I was saying earlier? How she looks like she's the forefront and London's just almost like whatever in the background? I don't know how I feel about that. I'm hoping that the rest of this doesn't look like that. I'm also hoping that our tour guide here changes outfits because she looks like she's like Where's Waldo's little sister. My fiance said, maybe not little sister, maybe like granddaughter. Because how old is Where's Waldo? I mean, he was an adult when we were kids. So, maybe his granddaughter. But, you know, like the red and white striped shirt, blue jeans, traveling, not really sure where he is, kind of a thing. Yep, there she is. So I think I'm going to name her something. Wilma. There. Yep, it's Wilma. Traveling the world, we'll see. So, there's that. And I will work on the next block when it comes out tomorrow. So there's that. Okay. Next whip. It's going to look a little funny. So I've already mentioned the big snowstorm that we got hit with last week. And how I got stuck at home. Well, I went gangbusters on stitching on my elephants. And it was my it was my pick for this month's Focus for a Finish. So one of my 8 2015 whips that I wanted to get done this year. So I went gangbusters on the Friday that the snowstorm first got started, and I kind of worked on it all weekend. And then I worked on it all this last week. So I have a lot done. So here you're going to be seeing a preview of where it was last time. And then I will show you where I am now. And if you're not on any of like Stitch Mania or Cross Stitch Finish Line, you won't have seen this before. I have a baby elephant. Look at how cool she is. She's so pretty. And she looks like an elephant. Which is, you know, altogether mind-blowing. I mean, how is it that she actually looks like an elephant? And there's like maybe 30 colors in this whole pattern. How is it even possible? I just don't, oh my God. Every time I work on this piece, I'm consistently blown away by the depth of life that's achieved. Look at her little eye. There's so much soul in her eye. Oh God, I love her. So, that is baby Celeste. She was named by Tracy. And Tracy picked that name because she came out of literary from Babar, Queen Celeste. So, we have little baby Celeste. Her mom here in front, her name is Nicki Minaj because she got a big butt. And I'm trying to work through her big butt right now. Nicki Minaj was like the best one that I could come up with. I thought about Jessie J, but I am also a Jessie, and so I just thought that was kind of awkward. So Nicki Minaj it is. And then I'm working through it now. I'm stitching this really weird because her back leg and behind are Confetti City, which is amazing because there's only like 9 colors in there, but it's Confetti City. So I'm stitching it almost like I do a Heaven and Earth design. The corner over here was pretty straightforward. I mean, it's like in diagonals. You can kind of see the striations there. But here, in order to achieve the way her hide looks on her hip to upper thigh on her back leg, because she's walking this way. The only way to achieve that is to do this confetti, but it's just crazy. It's crazy. So I'm stitching it like I do a Heaven and Earth design, where I pick a color and I work all the way down. And then I pick the next color and I work it all the way down. And then I pick the next color and I work it all the way down. And I'm working in columns. But I'm trying to avoid that bubbling that can happen with Heaven and Earth designs. But I think I'm doing pretty good with that. And so my hope is to get the my hope is to get this part of her done today, because today is my last day with her. So there's that. And then over here is where Dad goes. Dad's name, I think, is going to be Big Tone. The reason for that is that he seems kind of impatient. I mean, you know, like baby's just plodding along. Baby Celeste here is just plodding along. And Dad is in such a big hurry that he's like literally nudging her along with his tusks. Though he ain't got no time. He's probably from New York, where nobody in New York has any time for anybody. And I'm talking like Manhattan. Like where nobody has any time for anything. So yeah. I think his name is Big Tone. But like, you know, like a Big Tone from New York. Kind of a Big Tone. You're welcome for that. So we have Big Tone, Nicki Minaj, and Baby Celeste. It just makes sense. It makes sense. So there we go. Those are my elephants, and oh my God, do I love it. I love the baby. I can't get over her. I can't get over her face. I thought it was a he, but her eyes, I mean, it almost looks like she's got eyeliner on. And she doesn't have any space where, like, her tusks are growing in, so I'm pretty sure she's a girl. So she's my girl. This fabric, which I'm loving, is 32 count aqua linen, and it's by Fabric Flare. I got this on the 1, 2, 3 stitch clearance fabric, and it's been just awesome to work with. It's such a different kind of linen. It's called a linen, but it's just so different. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's different. Anyway, love it. Love this. Okay, so those are my whips for this past couple of weeks. So next we'll get into, let's talk about my journal. I think that was the next thing. No, it wasn't, but it makes more sense to do my journal first. Okay, so Carolina S., in her last update video, showed her stitching journal, and I went like glossy-eyed when I saw it. I'm like, that is just a beautiful thing. To organize your stitching, to talk about, to write to yourself your goals, to journal about your stitching. I love that. I mean, I love the whole concept of it. So I got to work on my own. I attempted to bullet journal, which is this phenomenon for getting your life organized. I attempted to do that a few months ago, but it didn't make sense at that time in my life because all I was doing was working at a restaurant and stitching. So it didn't make any sense for me. I didn't have a whole lot of life to organize. I mean, I stitched and I went to work. That's pretty much it. So my bullet journal kind of stopped at that point, about a half a page in. So I had this bullet journal just ready to go. A lot of people use, I believe, they're moleskins, and I think I bought a moleskin actually. Did I buy a moleskin? Yeah, I did. I bought a moleskin. A lot of people use moleskins for their bullet journaling. Let me see if I still have. Oh yeah, I do. So I still have some of my bullet journaling in here. My plans for cleaning the house, you'll notice that none of those are checked. Oh, this was in July. Okay. Oh, I did more than I thought I did. Wow, what do you know? Anyway, so there was my attempt at a bullet journal. Well, when I was shopping for the right bullet journal, I'm left-handed, and traditional journals, it's so complicated for a left-handed person because I end up ruining the spine of a journal with my left hand because I'm pushing down to try to get use of that space. Otherwise, I've got margins like this, and then I have this much space to write in on a page. Left-handed problems. So I bought a couple of different styles. I got the moleskin because that's what almost everybody uses for bullet journaling. I got just some plain graph paper to stick in a folder, but I didn't like how big that was because I felt like I was going to want to fill that space, and I was concerned that I would get disheartened if I wasn't able to fill that space. I'm also, because I'm left-handed, drawing is complicated. I write crooked, so I turn my page so like that, and then I write up the page. So drawing is complicated, and so to try to fill all of that white space, I knew in my heart of hearts that that was never going to work. But I bought it anyway just in case. And then I also got this one with the spiral, because sometimes the spiral does better than a spined book for left-handed. So I got this, and this is where I've put my stitching journal. So my very first page, I have my 2016 goals, really. But the first thing that you see are my whips from 2015. And this one doesn't have a whole lot of color in it. But these are my whips from 2015. So this is a list of all of the projects that I had in 2015 that I brought over to this year. You can see there's quite a lot of them there. Underneath that are my goals for 2016. So my goals for 2016 are to stitch on every whip from 2015. So I need to put at least a strand of floss into each and every single one of those whips. My other goal, which I mentioned before, is 16 finishes. And 8 of those, at least 8 of them need to come from these 2015 whips, and 8 of them can come from 2016 new starts. So the green ones over here are the 2016 starts. The purple ones are whips from 2015. You can see there's an X in one of the 2016 starts because, ladies and gentlemen, I finished always, and that counts. I don't care how small it was, I finished it. Up here is where I'm tracking that I did indeed stitch on each of my whips. And so you can see here that I stitched on In This Moment, my Not Quite White work. I stitched on my Flower of the Month and my Elephants in January. And so as I work on each of them, I'll make sure to check them off so that I can achieve that first goal there, because I want to make sure that I'm making progress on these projects. I have no expectation of finishing them all this year. That's unrealistic, in the best sense. Even if I didn't have to work, even if I wasn't planning my wedding, I still would never be able to finish these this year. It's just not going to happen. Not with my rate of new starts. And not with the size of the Heaven and Earth designs that I have in here. But I would like to make progress on every single one of them this year. So that's what we've got. And then as I finish them, I'm going to cross them out, because there's like instant gratification from crossing something out, from just making that line. Like, I don't even have to acknowledge that anymore. For whatever reason, I get so much joy out of that. Me and Liz, you know. So there's that. Next is page 1 of what I shared on my Instagram. And I'm going to take a sip here because this is going to take some explaining. The problem with being type B personality and left-handed is that I can get hung up on the formatting of things, and my left hand impedes that so much. But it also means that I'm right-minded, which means that I think with my right brain more often than not, and so I have these not so concrete ideas for what I want to make happen, but you know, it's a mess. Anyway, so this is my January, and bullet journaling, it's called a spread. So this is my January spread, and it's just a 1-page sort of glimpse at what I want the month to look like. So up top I have my pretty little border that took me 2 hours to Google. Yep. I know it's simple, but it took me a while. And then I had to practice cursive handwriting because I haven't done that in years. Just to remember how to do a J. Isn't that hilarious? Anyway, the top section there is my rotation. So that was my planned rotation. On this side over here, you see the key. And that will make sense on page 2. Below that were my goals for January, and you can see my first goal was to follow my rotation. That big X there, it means I failed. The second goal was to finish my Carnation, my Venice block, and my London block, and I did those. So, hooray, maybe. And then the last one is hilarious. Limit new starts to Frosted Pumpkin, Pumpkin Passport, Clouds Factory postcards, and my New Year New Start to be determined, whatever that was going to be. Obviously, I did not do that because I had 6 new starts in January. So, big red X there. I suppose I could check these off because I did indeed start those. Underneath that, this section down here are the Facebook sales. So these are the stitch-alongs that I plan on participating in. I am in 4 groups that do stitch-alongs. So we have Stitch Mania, Cross Stitch It's Fun, Cross Stitch and Discuss, and Cross Stitch Finish Line. All 4 of those have stitch-alongs planned and scattered throughout the year. And so down here, I am listing the ones that I plan on participating in. So for January, there was just 2, and for just one group, Stitch Mania's New Year, New Start. Again, that key will make sense on page 2. And then Chatelaine Shenanigans. Chatelaine Project, and again, the key will make sense. Underneath that, I had some white space, so I decided to stick in a quote. The quote is in relation to the passing of Alan Rickman, because while it hit my friend harder, it still kind of hit me kind of hard that we lost him. And so I stuck in that full quote even after all this time, always. And then over here is a mini calendar, a very, very mini calendar, basically any major events I will symbol in there, but there weren't any in January. I mean, a big snowstorm, but that wasn't warranted. So there's that. And my calendar goes Sunday to Saturday. So there's my January spread. Page 2 is a little bit less structured in that it's keyed, but it gets filled in as time passes. So page 2 is projects that I worked on. So the first one listed here, Chatelaine Autumn Fairy. I do the designer and then the name of the pattern in quotation marks, or I will abbreviate. So FPS is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So Chatelaine Autumn Fairy. The exclamation point up here refers to a new start. NYNS, New Year, New Start, referring to the Facebook sales. And CS, Chatelaine Shenanigans, again, referring to the Facebook sales. The next one here, EMS, Flower of the Month. G means that I met my goal. I see the big green G. It's sort of like validation. Here we have the little red dot with an S in the middle, and that is referring to, whoops, back a page. That was for my SAL week. So you can see on page 2 how I accomplished my SALs. Then if there's any major accomplishments, I will put them below. So underneath that one I completed Carnation. Then I worked on my Northern Expressions needlework, not quite white work. I completed the Bargello block. Next was a new start, Clouds Factory, Postcards from the World. I completed Venice, new start, goal met. Next, I started Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's Pumpkin Passport. I completed London, new start, goal met. Next, I started Mega Man, charted by myself. So, new start. Next, I worked on Heaven and Earth Designs in This Moment, marked with a little green with an H in the middle, noting my, Heaven and Earth Designs week. Next, I started Heaven and Earth Designs Personal Sunshine. I completed the Hey Challenge number 1. There was no goal associated with this on page 1, so I didn't mark it with goal, although that was a goal that I met. Which is the same to be said about Northern Expressions. Although it was a goal that I completed that Bargello, it wasn't one of my original goals. Next, J. Netley Mayhew's Elephants. This is a little orange with a W in the middle, means whatever I want. It should have been a purple one with an F in the center for Focus for a Finish week. However, I didn't start it until the Friday at the beginning of my Whatever I Want week, so effectively I failed my rotation. And then finally, I have Lala Creations Always, New Start, a little star there for a finish, And then I have a little purple FO if I finish it. If I fully finish it, which I haven't done yet. If I do that today, then I can mark it there. So this is like essentially some record keeping for myself. This is going to help me sort of know what I did and kind of when I did it. I'd like to include some dates. I'd like to include some sort of indication that I did a video, because I find myself watching my own video and then watching it again because I don't remember what I talked about. So there's that. I also want to include some space where I actually journal, where I write about things that come to mind while I'm stitching, or ideas, or just general thoughts about stitching. Maybe to give myself some content for my videos. Maybe just for the therapeutic sense of journaling. Journaling can be so good for the soul. So that's why you will see that I don't write on the back page, because as a left-handed person, it's easier for me to rest my hand there than it is to rest it there and write that way. So if I'm going to write for lengthy periods of time, it's easier on this side. Yeah, left-handed people have to think about these things, okay? Sorry, that was more snarky than it was meant to. Okay, so then before I started recording here today, I finished up my February spread. This took 2 drafts. Excuse me. Okay. This took 2 drafts. So, here's what we've got. My rotation. Week 1, Sal week. So, Clouds Factory and Frosted Pumpkin. My nose, I tell you what. Week 2, Shades of Wine. That will make sense here shortly. Week 3, Focus for a Finish. Week 4, Whatever I Want. When I had spoken to you guys last about my rotation, I had mentioned that if I get Frosted Pumpkin and Clouds Factory done within a week, then I'll switch over to Ellen Moore Stroh's Flower of the Month. This month, I don't think I'm going to do that, because that will make sense when I get to my goals. Speaking of which, my goals. My goals are to follow my rotation. I want to complete the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery block, the Clouds Factory block, Mega Man, and then I want to FFO, Mega Man, and Always. I want to limit my new starts to just 1, Shades of Wine. And then this goal is why I made that footnote about my rotation. I want to work on at least 3 different 2015 whips that I haven't worked on yet this year, because that goes back to my goal for 2016 is to stitch on every single one of my 2015 whips. So if I get Clouds Factory and Frosted Pumpkin done this week, if I have any time remaining, I want to work on something else, some other project that I haven't worked on yet, to try to achieve that goal of working on at least a little bit of every single one of my projects. So that's what's going to happen. And then Facebook sales this month, just one, We Love Stitching from Stitch Mania. And that's it. That's my February spread. Projects worked on? Blank, because it's not February yet. So I haven't worked on anything yet. It's pretty self-explanatory. So there's that. This is kind of a work in progress in and of itself, because this is new, like I'm still developing this. I'm still trying to finalize everything with it. I'm still trying to sort out exactly how I want to format things. I think that I want to be able to include pictures, but not really sure how to do that economically. The whole point of this is to be able to do this economically. a lot of people use the X Stitch app, and I think that that app is beautiful. I have it, but I don't use it because I am a little bit of a traditionalist. I am old school pen and paper, and so that's why this works for me. It stinks when I have to do multiple drafts because on the app, you just delete and you start over. With this, I have to rip pages out, which is unfortunate. But it's just much more comfortable to me to pen and paper it. I will keep up with this so much better than I would the app, so that's where you come with that. So, week 1 for February are my Sal's week. I think I'm going to start with Frosted Pumpkin, get this done, and out of the way. So, we'll do that. And then that way I can do this block. I could probably do the block in a day or two, and then get to work on Clouds Factory. So I'll do that starting tomorrow. Then I will do my Clouds Factory block, just as a quick reminder. Here's where I am. And so I will need to do the border for February, and then I think my plan is to do the border for March, so that I have that done. I'm going to try to stay a border ahead every month, which would be good. So that we'll get to work on. I'll probably start that, I'm hoping by Tuesday, if not by Wednesday, I'll be able to get started there. So there's that. Then week 2 is Shades of Wine. Shades of Wine is this epiphany that I had. So, Crafty Kim had mentioned on her channel that she was working on Shades of Gold. And she started this shortly after working on her quilt for November from Paula Vaughn. She blamed me for her Paula Vaughn November quilt start. And I saw her Shades of Gold, and I went, oh, well, you know, there's my payback. I enabled her, she enables me. So I got started. I had to get Shades of Wine. And then, in the meantime, you know, we're working on wedding planning. And I'm trying to think about a wedding sampler. And I don't like wedding samplers. I really don't. I like the idea, I like the sentiment, but I just don't like the patterns that are out there. So I contemplated designing my own. I contemplated commissioning somebody to design one for me. And I didn't really like any of those ideas, and it's evidenced by the fact that I didn't pursue any of those ideas. And then the two things kind of clicked together. Shades of Wine and Shades of Orange. So Northern Expressions Needlework, she has this series of Shades of. Crafty Kim is doing Shades of Gold. I am going to do Shades of Wine and Shades of Orange. She has shades of green, blue, red, rose. I mean, the color story. Green is beautiful. I would love to do that one. But I'm going to do Shades of Wine and Shades of Orange. So they kind of look like maroon and orange, which are our colors. I mean, they're not our wedding colors because I didn't want it to look like the Hokey Bird threw up on my wedding. But maroon and orange, there's just like, it means so much to us. I mean, you see up there, that's an image of Virginia Tech. It's a drawing of Virginia Tech, and the frame, the matting, is a maroon and orange. I wear my Virginia Tech necklace all the time. We're mad Hokies. So I thought our wedding sampler could be maroon and orange, and the two, they go together so well, and they're beautiful, and they just look nice, you know? So that's what I'm going to do. So Shades of Wine, I'm starting week 2, and that's going to be my focus on week 2. Because it's kind of related to my wedding, it's kind of related to love, it's like a purpley, pinky, red kind of color. It totally fits with the We Love Stitching theme for the Stitch Mania sale. So why not? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Shades of Wine. And let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. I never like the way that this shows up. But I'm going to do it anyway, because it's my channel. There, Shades of Wine. So I'm going to do those. And I have materials ordered and on their way to me. I don't have them yet because I came to this decision yesterday. So anyway, so that's that. Then week 3 is my focus for a finish. And I kind of looked at the 8 projects that I had picked. And I've decided I'm going to work on something other than my elephants for right now. And so I chose my Persephone from Mirabilia, because all of this talk about Gypsy Queen and Mirabilias and whatnot are making me jealous. So I thought, well, it's time to get back to mine. So I'm going to work on Persephone. Here's what she's supposed to look like when she's done. And so I'm going to work up in that region, her chest and shoulder and probably that arm, and see if I can't connect the two in a week. So there's my Persephone. This fabric is a 32 count Belfast in Tempest from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. So I will work on her. And then week 4 is whatever I want. So I can pick another of my 2015 whips to try to accomplish that goal. And that kind of rounds out my February spread and what I want February to look like. February is a short month, even though it's an extra long February this year. But that's kind of that. Okay. Next, let's move on to haul. This is gonna be so much fun. I have a bag of haul here. The bag is actually knitting haul, so I'll just show it to you. This is my Loopy Academy bag. This is the prize for completing freshman year of the Loopy Academy. Basically, we had 3 projects per semester to accomplish, and I did, so this was my reward. How cool is this bag? Oh my god, it's so fantastic. It looks like purpley gray denim jeans were cut up and made into a bag, and I just love it. I can't get over how much it's just so cool. So there's that. But I stuffed all of my haul into this bag. So let's do least interesting first. Least interesting. It's like a bag of goodies, and I can show you guys. Least interesting. Look it, guys. It's Witchhold Imports Joblin, 28 count, size 18 by 27, in the lamb's wool colorway. Mighty boring. But you go to Hobby Lobby, you have 40% off coupon. You're buying DMC floss, so you find something to use that coupon on. Ta-da! So I got some fabric. In that same shopping trip, I got this that everybody else already has that I can't believe I didn't have. This is 5 Seasons of Quilts. It was put out by Leisure Arts. Tell me which number it is. No, it does not. But nonetheless, 5 Seasons of Quilts. Who doesn't love that? I love the summer one. This middle one in the summer. I think that's gorgeous. And then of course I love the winter one because of the blues. So there's that. These may make an appearance in Mania. Yeah, all of them. Okay, don't touch. Okay. Next, we have my Stitching Bits and Bobs order. It arrived yesterday? Was that yesterday? No, it was earlier this week. This was my Stitching Bits and Bobs order that I had placed on December the 5th. and Bobby had to order the fabrics from Picture This Plus, which always, you know, it just takes a while. And so I feel much better about it now that I am removed from it, because now I have fabrics in my stash. So the first we have is Rosewood. This is an 18 by 27 piece of Rosewood Belfast 32 count. This was the called for fabric for the Clouds Factory postcards from the world. So I'll just pull out a plastic here. Sorry for the ruffle. Gorgeous pinky mauve color. I like it. I like it. It's going in my stash. It doesn't have a use yet. That's okay. I like stash. Fabric stash always makes me happy. Next we have Cashel 28 count in Ale. And this is also from Picture This Plus, an 18 by 27 piece. So in the bag. This is a neutral. Nothing too exciting to see here, but I love neutrals, so I will take it. There we go. Somebody posted that they don't like fabric and floss hauls because we're constantly saying, you're never going to see this right, or no, that's not right, and you guys are totally right. You're never going to see this right, and I can't help but show it to you. So I'm going to keep on. I'm going to keep on keeping on. I have also made the decision that I am no longer going to apologize for the haul portions of my videos, because I don't really know where that started. We just all kind of started apologizing, and I don't know why. If you don't like hauls, then you don't have to watch, but I'm going to show the stuff that I got because I'm excited. And I want you guys to continue to show me the stuff that you got, because I love seeing stuff. I mean, I've heard some people who have been stitching for much longer than I, that the way that it used to be is that the only way that you knew about anything that came out would be to go to a stitching store. And now we have online shopping, and we have other ways of finding out about patterns and fabrics and things. And by and large, you know, I complain all day, this, that, and the other thing about being enabled and whatnot, but I like being enabled. It makes me happy, because you guys tell me about stuff that I didn't know about, or you show me things that I didn't know I wanted. So, I like the haul videos. I'm not saying continue to do them just for me, but I'm just saying I am not apologizing for them any longer, because I know I'm not the only one. Okay? Okay. Next, we have the week's dye works that were called for my Frosted Pumpkin and Clouds Factory, because I ordered them in my Stitching Bits and Bobs order, so now I have a whole lot. So we have 2225 Marigold, gorgeous. 2 of 2131 Aqua, so now I have a ton of Aqua. Party. Next we have 2181 Cactus. Thought that was my 1, 2, 3 stitch order saying it shipped, but not yet. It's Sunday, I can't imagine why it would. And then, this one is so exciting, you guys. I have 1306 Navy. Look, it's a dark blue. Just like Michael's Navy. Who would have thunk? So, I have Navy now. We'll go with it. The reason that I never canceled my Stitching Bits and Bobs order. And Stitching May, if you guessed it, I'm unsurprised, first and foremost. And here's where you are validated. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I had the extra paperwork. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I did. I sure did. You are right. I did. ABC, DEF, GHI, the coveted GHI, JKL, can't get on 1, 2, 3 stitch any longer, MNO, with the mermaid with the crazy forehead. I'm totally with you, Jan. Her face is so bizarre. How bizarre. PQR. I love Q. It makes me want to quilt. I can't afford to quilt. Stop it. STU. Sewing. VWX. For cross stitch, I might stitch that one like 7 or 8 times. Y and Z. And a bonus. What is that one? How fun! I didn't know they did that. Jan, you never showed us that. That's so cool. I, ladies and gentlemen, bought the alphabet because I couldn't help it. Prairie School are going out of business. Or, excuse me, not going out of business, but retiring. Okay. Not a big deal. Because I do believe that the majority of the charts will still be available for quite a while. They did some pretty serious reprinting before they closed their doors. But this, thanks to Jan from Thread Garden, the interest in this has skyrocketed. And there's 2 in particular that are very difficult to find. Stitching Bits and Bobs had them. And so I had to bite the bullet. As far as I can tell, you can still get them from Stitching Bits and Bobs. So if you're interested, it is 9 charts. It's 9 booklets. But if this is something that you might be interested in, I don't know that I would wait, because I have a feeling that this is going to run out faster than most. I also know that the monthly series from them is going to run out faster than most. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to do this. My plans for this is to stitch it 1/2 on 40 count. So then it's kind of a standard size, but I'm going to stitch them all together, as you do. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm really looking forward to it. I have already stitched 1 Prairie Schooler, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to doing this. This may be a Mania thing. I may do this for Mania. We'll see. My wedding's in May. It's kind of... but nonetheless, I've got them. And it makes me happy. And I can rest easy now, because they're here. And they made it. And I have the alphabet. I can just see myself, like, having this done and putting it up in my kids' room. Oh. The letters and the pictures. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's got to happen. Okay. Oh, I forgot she did that. She sent me a freebie. From Hands to Work. And it's a forget-me-not. And I'm reading it because I'm not showing it to you. It says, Heart and Hand will be... Well, what does it say? Oh, Heart and Hand will never part to my friend. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, well, that is that. We'll see. See, guys, I've been thinking of ways to use my variegates because I have so many variegated flosses. So many. Not as many as most, but I have a lot, and I haven't used them. This might be a way to use them because it's, it's monochromatic. Okay, there's that. Oh, and here's my Stitching Bits and Bobs order. Yeah, it takes up a whole page. Okay. 2 more. First, we have my fabric of the month from Under the Sea Fabrics, the wonderful and beautiful and, gosh, I love you, Leslie, in a gorgeous deep dark gray bluey kind of color. There's a mermaid going on that, for sure. I'm thinking... What is it? Bluebeard? Yes. Yeah, I think so. Bluebeard on blue fabric. Yep. The last thing. I'm going to preface this with do not judge me. Okay? Because I wanted it. And so I got it. And it reeks. Oh my God, does it reek. Tracy, I know exactly what you're talking about with your Desiderata. OMG. It smells like this chart smoked a pack a day for its entire life. And let me see. When is it from? Does it say? 2000. So for the last 16 years, it smoked a pack of cigarettes a day on its own. Are you ready? Oh, Seaside Kingdom. You guys, I can't even tell you how long I have wanted this. It's like a little boy and a little girl, and they're building a sandcastle by the sea. But it's like kind of old-timey, because like the girl's bathing suit covers her, which is truly remarkable, even for kids her age. And then the little boy is wearing a bonnet, and it's just so stinking pretty. I'm obsessed with this. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to find the perfect fabric for this. I'm thinking it's going to be a neutral. I'm thinking it's coming from under the sea because love her. And I'm thinking that this is probably going to be another new start this year because I have wanted this for so long. And this list here, let's see, we have 3 glass seed beads, 1 antique glass bead, 1 frosted glass bead, and then 6 treasures. So this one's got like big bling on it. And then here's the saying that's on the back. It says, I imagined the most beautiful, sparkling, crystallized castle in the warm breezes of the ocean. With a few new treasures from our friends at Gay Bowles Sales, the Seaside Kingdom was created, a home of sand and feathers and seashells, threads and beads. This castle will not be taken by the rushing waves. It will be yours to enjoy for a very long time. Oh my God, it makes me want to cry. I am so excited, and it's sealed. It's never been opened. Never been opened. It stinks, but it will be fine. To the seller, thank you from the bottom of my heart for selling this. Oh God, not so close. It really shouldn't. And I don't feel well, so it's really not... Oh gosh, I shouldn't wave it either. Oh God, it's bad. Oh. I hope you guys are laughing with me for that. That's hilarious. Okay. So that's my haul. I do have some stuff coming because, like I said, I'm starting Shades of Wine here in next week. I'm so excited. Very excited to start that. So yeah. Couple things left. We are almost there, you guys. I want to insert a clip here. I know that there are a lot of people that are missing Thor. It's very difficult for me to record with the door open on Sundays because the mister is home and he's watching TV and I don't want that feedback. So I know everybody's missing the bowl. And so I thought I would include this clip here. This is Thor on the Saturday after we got Jonas. This is when Jonas was kind of still active, and it was still actively snowing, but you can see him hopping through the snow. So I'm going to insert that here. Yeah. He doesn't know what to do.
That's all you want?
Aww.
Too deep.
What do you think, Thor? Is it too much? Look at that little bunny rabbit. Ooh. Hey babe, if you want to, you can let him off the leash and I'll call him back. What you think, Thor? Hopefully that will help satisfy everybody who's missing Thor. The last couple of things that I wanted to address, I normally reserve this spot for talking about knitting and reading. The project that I'm knitting I don't like, and so I don't really feel like showing it. I'm going to finish it because I'm almost done, but I don't love it. And then what I'm reading is the same thing I was reading 2 weeks ago, only I haven't read anything since then. So that's kind of boring. So knitting kind of ties in to the title. Whips, clips, and questions. Oh my. So I'm in the process of planning this video here, and I'm thinking about everything that I want to include, and I'm talking about a lot of projects. And I'm talking about, there were a lot of questions that I answered, and I decided to include these clips. I had another one planned, but I didn't get it recorded in time. You know, just a lot of things that I wanted to stick into this video. And so I was like, whips, clips, and questions. Oh my. And then I'm like, well, that's awfully Wizard of Oz. So knitting, I decided to tie those things together. And I am wearing a hand knit. This is one of my very first hand knits. And I'll take it off so that I can show you all those, you know, those stupid things in your shirts to make them, whatever. Okay, so this is the hitchhiker shawl. And this, ladies and gentlemen, was knit using Leading Men Fiber Arts, and I believe it's the Showstopper base, which is a fingering yarn, and it's 75% merino, 25% nylon. The colorway is No Good Deed. And to you who are fans of theater should recognize that song. It is one of the songs from Wicked, which is the Broadway production that featured Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth for quite a few years. It is arguably one of my favorite shows. It may be the only one of two that I've seen on Broadway, but I love it so. And this is my Wicked Hitchhiker because the colorway, and I was trying to get it done My brother and I went to New York to go see Wicked. It was my Christmas present a couple years ago. I was trying so hard to get it done. But I did knit on this in New York. And I just love it. So the title, you know, whips, clips, and questions. Oh my. And then we have a Wicked hitchhiker. So it just kind of all ties together. And I didn't mean to Garrett up this installment here. It just kind of worked out that way. So there we go. There's my own little story about what the story of Wizard of Oz means to me. So there we go. Love it. They have another colorway, Defying Gravity, which almost everybody recognizes. But I liked this one more because I just liked the colors. Hot pink. Holler. So anyway, so that's that. Now regarding reading, rather than show you the book that I'm reading that I haven't read in 2 weeks, I thought that I would just bring one of my favorites. A lot of people mentioned liking historical fiction, and so I thought that I would show off one of my favorites, if not my absolute favorite, historical fiction novel. This one is heartbreaking, and it's erotic, and it's brutal, and it's love, and it's emotional, and it's huge. It's a big book, and those aren't thick pages. I mean, they're thin pages. This book here is The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons, or Simmons, I'm not entirely sure. This is World War II, set in Petersburg. And it's a love story, and it's about the war. It's about an aspect of the war that's not taught in a whole lot of U.S. history classrooms. It's, touched on, but it's not emphasized. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink. I love soda. Gosh, that's so bad, but I miss it. It's about a girl named Tatiana, and she falls in love with Alexander. And it's just so beautiful. This is one of my favorite books ever. I try to put it in everybody's hands that I possibly can. I love this book. It is the first in the series, but this book is perfect on its own. I haven't read the other books in the series. It has been optioned for a film. It has been optioned for a series, and neither of those have come to fruition yet. But I don't care, because it lives perfectly in my mind. I love this book so much. So if you are a fan of historical fiction, and you like a little bit of a love story, pick this up. I haven't checked recently. I don't believe it's available on Audible yet. It may be. It may be, because, Harry Potter is now available on Audible, so why shouldn't this? This book is so... Oh, it's so good. I might have to reread it. I might reread this year. It's been a few years since I've read it. But it's just so beautiful. And I stumbled on this by accident. I mean, to be honest, I picked it up for the cover. Because, hello. Love the cover. But the story inside is everything. And so if you're looking for a recommendation for historical fiction, or just a really good book, pick this up. It's so good. It is so good. I wish I had better words, but it's so good. So that's that. Oh my gosh, have we done enough? I hope so. I hope this is enough. I'm really glad I didn't decide to wait until I was healthy to do this video, because I can't even imagine, excuse me, how much I would have to talk about. Oh my goodness. So, with that ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching here today. I hope you had some stitching, and I hope you got a whole lot done while we were talking, and I will see you guys next time. So happy stitching.